We are live on YouTube, and we're
Hey, the
live on
broadcast is live.
Facebook, the Facebook.
Excuse me, quiet on set.
Quite on the set. We're getting ready to go live for the audio portion of the podcast. Quite on the set. Everyone bring it down just a notch.
Sorry.
This is the Chuck Jones Show. Here we go. I don't have to mute you, do I? It's kind of a
I
bummer.
hope you do. I really hope you do.
You do?
Yeah, that's how you make me feel on the inside. You mute me.
Does that really bother you?
I
All right, here we go. Here's the Chuck Jones Show. We're going live on Podbean.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
You're listening to The Chuck Jones Show. Talk radio just for you. This is an iHeartRadio podcast. And now, quarantined away somewhere in Northeast Ohio, live from the Discount Wheelie Studio, here's your hosts, Chuck Jones and Steve.
What's going on? This is the Chuck Jones Show. I am the Chuck Jones. If I can figure out how to turn this music down. There we go.
the Chuck Jones.
The Chuck Jones. Don't be confused with counterfeit Chuck Joneses. I am the one and only Chuck Jones, and you are tuned into the Chuck Jones Show podcast, and this is my co-host, known
That's
as
a lot of words you're using there.
Steve. Well, we got an hour to fill, so I might as well use the words.
Might as well use all the words you can find.
That's right. So,
Amazing.
here we are. It is episode 7 of this new podcast, and it
You
is
scheduled episode 7 to go live, but then the live video on YouTube is just 7. It's a separate video that just says 7.
There was some issues beforehand. I was, for some reason, every time I hit start streaming on OBS, it wasn't showing up on YouTube, and I could not for the life of me. I spent a half an hour trying to figure that out, and I don't even know what I did, but it started working. So at one point, because I had to redo it like 6 times, I get tired of typing episode 7, so I finally just hit 7. So that's why that says that. So we're live on Podbean. Rest Stop is here already. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Rest Stop.
Rest Stop's on Podbean. We are only live on YouTube and the Chuck Jones Show Facebook page.
Thank goodness.
And Podbean. Right, and Podbean. I got tired of trying to go live in too many places at once. I think it was beneficial to be live on my personal page. We'll find out tonight, because I think a lot of the people that were watching were on my personal page. But I can't tell, because in StreamYard it just shows up as the same. But anyway.
Right.
Today is May 6th. Yesterday was Quattro de Mayo. Steve, did you do anything special for Quattro de Quarantine? Sorry.
You're forgetting
Cinco. I know it's Cinco.
Part of that day.
Biggest part of yesterday?
Yes. It was Cinco de Mayo.
And Taco Tuesday?
On Taco Tuesday, during a pandemic named after a Mexican beer.
After Corona.
Yes.
That'll never happen again in the history of humanity.
History. You saying words real weird today,
The
buddy.
history of humanity.
You've been watching too much.
This is the Chuck Jones Show. We are coming live from Bolivia. Hello.
Jeez.
Hello.
Have you been watching some Castlevania?
I have not. I tell you what I've been watching that I just can't get enough of is Waco. I don't know if you've watched that yet, Steve.
Of course not. Waco. As in Waco, Texas?
Yeah, it's a Netflix. It was a limited, what they call now a limited series. In other words, it's multiple episodes, but it's not multiple seasons. It came out on the Paramount network, which I never heard of. I guess it's Spike Lee's old network.
Never heard.
I guess Spike Lee's network went under and he started another Paramount. Well, this was something they made 2 years ago, I believe. It's the story of Waco, Texas, and the Branch Davidians and David Koresh and all that stuff that happened back in 1993. Which what year were you born, Steve?
91.
91. So you were a 2-year-old little baby boy.
I was.
Just waddling around when the ATF raided the Branch Davidians' compound in Waco, Texas. And 76 people end up dying. Or 80. I'm sorry, 80. 80 people die over a 51-day siege. But anyway.
4 days in Ohio.
So they released this Waco limited series on Netflix just recently, and it's been in the top 10. So I decided.
This is new.
It's not. It's new to Netflix. It's 2 years old.
Oh.
But it's new to Netflix. Basically, no one's seen it before it was on Netflix. But it's
good. It's
really good, even if you don't know anything about what happened. It's based on 2 books. One written by David Thibodeau, who was a Branch Davidian who was in the compound, and the other book written by the FBI lead negotiator, Gary something, I can't remember his name, but
Gary Grant.
Gary, yeah. So this based on these 2 books. It's so riveting. I watched the whole thing, of course, in like 2 days because I'm a binge watcher.
Jeez.
And my wife and my son saw it somewhere, and they're like, they were interested. I said, well, let's watch it. And they're like, we already watched it. Like, I don't care. I'll watch it again. So I've been watching it like two times in the last week, and I'm enjoying it the second time through as much as it was the first time. But there's a little bit of I was a young man at that time living in California.
Young man.
Just around this time when Waco happened and another incident called Ruby Ridge, which was 8 months prior to Waco, where a man named Randy Weaver was assaulted by the ATF because he, quote unquote, had sold a sawed-off shotgun to a undercover agent, and ATF ended up killing his son and his wife, and he ended up getting arrested and vindicated later. But those 2, Waco and Ruby Ridge, connect.
Did he sue?
I don't know. I don't know the details on that. Maybe, but those 2 connected, and those 2 are also connected to the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995. Only because Timothy McVeigh was a big supporter of the American militia movement and cited Waco and Ruby Ridge as part of his anti-government. It was a very big anti-government time in the early 90s. I don't know if you're aware of that, Steve, because you were a little baby boy.
I remember a lot of the 90s.
Yeah.
You ever heard of
Corey Feldman?
No. What's his name? Hold on.
I need to know his name.
Stretch Armstrong?
Stretch Armstrong, the doll, the thing you play with that was out in like the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, dude. I used to buy those all the time in the 90s, bro.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, because I always break them. So I had to get a new Stretch Armstrong.
Because you were too strong. You were stretched. And
I was too strong for Stretch Armstrong.
You were like most kids, you just had to know what was inside of there, right?
Dude, it came back in 2016. They're making them now.
Stretch Armstrongs?
Yeah. They stopped in 97 and came back in 2016 to present. Hell yeah, dude. I love me some Stretch Armstrong. I'm about to go find one. So
I've glanced over at the chat on YouTube. If you want to join us on YouTube, you can join the chat. It'll be on YouTube, so be careful what you say. But Michelle and Anchor always know everything between those 2. Like she's telling me.
See what Michelle just said?
Look at Steve's face. It looks like his soul is leaving his body. He had a rough day at work, huh?
That and your long history lesson was getting to me.
Really? Oh wow. Well,
I'm amazed she saw that.
I figured we were probably going to talk about TV stuff like we normally do, so why not launch right into it, right?
Dude, yeah, I'm feeling it.
Waco's a good. You might enjoy it.
Continue your story. We're in the late 90s now with what was his name? Rudy Feldman.
How dare you?
No, I was just going to wrap it up actually by saying that because of Ruby Ridge and Waco, there was a huge anti-government militia movement across the country that I was involved in. I actually was part of the formation of a militia in Southern California. We trained.
Really?
Yeah, we trained and did all kinds of stuff. We were 16 or 20 strong, played paintball on the
Jeez.
weekends and stuff like that. And
Ooh.
it was
Did
weird.
you
It
guys
was
actually ever do anything?
it was well. We actually corresponded with some other militias around the country in Montana and Michigan. And a lot of those, they were in the spotlight in national news, the Michigan, Montana militias. And they had ties with Timmy McVeigh somehow. I don't remember the details. I didn't look this up because I just remembered it. That one of those militias, Montana or Michigan, had ties with Timmy McVeigh, or he had visited them or something like that, or he wrote letters or something like that. And one of the members in the militia I was in also wrote letters to one of those. And we had... I decided to move back to Ohio, and we left, I think it was just months before Oklahoma City. Like, it was like, okay, I'm kind of glad I'm not doing that militia thing anymore, because it really, that really put the spotlight on the militia movement in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was all founded in some, the ATF really overstepped their bounds in the late 80s and early 90s. And Waco is the result. 80 people dead, shouldn't have died. Terrible, stupid idiots. Jackboot thugs. That's where that term came from.
Jeez.
Jackbooted thugs.
Wow.
So, ATF stands for what?
That's a terrible abbreviation. Why couldn't they be like ICE? ICE is cooler.
Because they're the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
And explosives.
And explosives, so it's the ATFE.
I guess so.
I didn't know that. I just thought it was the ATF.
Anyway, ICE is better. ICE.
ICE, that's immigration.
I know, but still better name.
Yeah, it's kind of 80s. ICE. So, if you would like to join us and discuss anything, you can call us at 330-474-9833, and we will answer. And you can talk to us, and you could call us on Podbean if you would like. Not too many people do that. Enrique gave up. I guess Enrique gave up trying to call the show on Podbean.
Enrique.
So,
what a good man.
Yep.
So you've been digging a little bit in history lately in your time off.
Just that. I started watching it. Like I first saw it on Netflix like last week, and I thought, it didn't really jump out like, oh, I really got to see this. Then I started looking at it, and it's like, well, there's some pretty big name actors in this. Maybe it's not bad. So I watched it, and then, man, it hooked me. It's good. It really hooked me. It's like I couldn't wait. Like I said, I've been watching it again with my wife and son. They're both interested.
Who's in it? You said big name actors?
Well, they're not huge name actors, but they're recognizable. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
The guy who plays David Koresh, I can't remember his name, Taylor Kish or something like that. He played in Friday Night Lights, the series. And he's kind of a buff dude. He was what's that? There's a superhero movie. Okay, this is right up your alley. There was a superhero movie that was a total flop. Carter.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He was
Carter?
John Carter. Yeah, he played that role, and
Oh.
so, but he's a kind of a
Michael Shannon. Why wouldn't you start off with Michael Shannon?
well, because I don't remember their names or.
Oh,
Like I
Michael
said,
Shannon's the most popular.
John Leguizamo. I remember him. He's in it.
No one knows who that is.
You
Julia
don't know who
Gardner,
John Leguizamo is?
Melissa Benoit. She's Supergirl. All these popular people, whoever the hell you just said.
But anyway, Taylor Kish, who played, I can't remember who he played in Friday Night Lights, but he's kind of he's a well-built guy, but he lost 30 pounds to do this.
Oh yeah, he looks
role.
real skinny.
He had to lose weight. He had to learn to play the guitar and sing. He had to study the Bible. I read it. I watched an interview with him. All this stuff. He says the hardest role he's ever prepared for, but he does a really good job. Huh?
Not John Carter.
No.
He was Tim Riggins.
Tim Riggins, yes, there it is. Tim Riggins on Friday Night Lights. But anyway, yeah, Waco's good. It's worth watching.
Yeah.
What I really liked about it is they really, if you think you know what happened at Waco, you don't. Watch this and you'll know a lot of what happened. It comes from both sides, so it's not like, because you didn't know this, Steve, because you're a baby boy at the time, but they were really portrayed as crazy, cult, killing, beating kids, raping, blah. They were really portrayed poorly in the media. So for at that time, a lot of people were like, they, whatever, these crazy whack jobs get what they deserve kind of thing. Most people. But at the time, no one knew what was really going on.
That's how it is with most things. Someone doesn't like it, then they get portrayed as like a crazy cult and they do all these weird things.
Well, one of the unfortunate things that happens in life, and I guess it's just human nature and the way we are, government entities like the ATF or the FBI, they're run by people. They're just people who have agendas and want to make money and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes when things go wrong or then things start getting covered up, it's just, you'd like to think everybody in positions of authority and things like the ATF or FBI would be upstanding and do the right thing no matter what, but not if your job's on the line. Yeah.
Right.
I got Gloria on Facebook says he was a pedophile, but no one deserved what happened. No matter what he did, I mean, I don't know that pedophilia was ever proven, but he definitely had underage wives. But from what I've heard, the permission was given. But either way, that doesn't matter. I don't care. He was a weirdo. He was definitely had a serious messiah complex, but he got a lot of people to follow him. Like 120 or so lived in that thing at one point. But
jeez,
sad. A lot of kids and women died in that siege. So anyway, on to more upbeat news. Have you heard about? Let's talk about murder hornets. Yay!
Good question.
Have you heard of the murder hornets?
I've eaten 2 of them since the beginning.
Really? How are they?
Spicy.
Are they spicy? Do you prepare them in a certain way or just eat them raw?
You deep fry them.
Deep fry. In a like peanut oil or?
Yeah, peanut oil. Throw a little flour, paprika.
Yeah.
Red hot chili flakes.
Well, number one, you're lying because the murder hornets aren't here in Northeast Ohio. They're only in the Pacific Northwest there in Washington State.
They're in Ohio.
No, they're not.
I caught 3 of them.
You're a liar, a liar, a liar.
Now, did you watch the guy get stung? Talk about weird things to get paid money for. We were talking about video games last week. This guy, I guess it's more educational, but he goes around. He's a YouTuber, millions of subscribers. He gets paid to get stung by different animals.
So he does this regularly?
Yes.
Because I saw the headlines of the guy who was a YouTuber gets stung by the murder hornet. I didn't read the story.
He's gotten stung by lots of things. The YouTube channel, I believe, is like Brave Wilderness or something like that, I think. And basically, he goes around, gets stung. No, it's not Brave Wilderness. Yeah, no, it is. I just searched it. Okay. Yeah, and he'll go around, get stung by let's see here. What does he have? Oh yeah, there's the murder hornet one. He got 2 million views in one day.
Yeah,
getting stung by that. But yeah, he gets bit by things, snakes, weird stuff.
That's crazy.
But yeah, he's like a wannabe Irwin, but getting stung by things.
Now, could you do that if you were going to make that kind of money?
Could I do that?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think I could either.
Nope.
I mean, I don't know what kind of money he's making. But let's say he's making $1 million a year. Would you get stung by a murder hornet for $1 million?
Nope.
Really? You wouldn't?
Nope. I mean, the dude is dying, bro.
Yeah, but he's not going to die. He just got stung once, right?
He's dying. Anyway, continue your story. They're in Ohio. Continue.
What's that?
They're in Ohio, but continue.
They're not in Ohio. The murder hornets are not in Ohio. Stop saying they're in Ohio. They're not.
4 dead
In
in
Ohio.
Ohio.
Murder hornets in Ohio. I saw a funny meme that said, something about Mother Nature. How do we keep these people inside to keep the coronavirus from coming away? And then Mother Nature says, how about murder hornets?
There's a couple memes about that where it's like March and April were like hazard suits and stay at home, and the month before that was like the wildfires, and then this month is just a picture of a bee already.
The murder hornet. That's crazy.
Yep.
Now,
Crazy.
I don't know if you know this, but they're called murder hornets because they murder other bees, especially honeybees. They don't really murder people. I guess they're big in Japan, and 50 people a year die from murder hornets. 50.
Jeez.
Now, I saw the most hilarious meme. It just showed this chart, and it said the curve. It said murder hornets. How many people die if we don't do anything? How many people die if we stay inside for 4 months?
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
That's great. Memes are great. I'm glad we can make fun of all these horrible things.
So, murder hornets and Gallup, New Mexico. I don't know if you saw this in the news, Steve. New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham invoked the state's Riot Control Act on Friday to essentially lock down the city of Gallup after its mayor requested that she do so. Under the act, all roads leading into Gallup were closed off to mitigate the uninhibited spread of COVID-19. Effective at 12 p.m. May 1st, all roads into Gallup are closed. Businesses in the city of Gallup will close at 5 p.m. through 8 a.m. Vehicles may only have a maximum of 2 individuals. Residents of the city should remain at home except for emergency outings and those essential for health and welfare. Gallup is a city of nearly 22,000 people, about 100 miles west of Albuquerque, has been particularly affected by the coronavirus. As of Friday, McKinley County, where Gallup is located, had 1,027 confirmed cases and 19 deaths. That's it.
Jeez.
Okay, get on board.
See, we can't be complaining too much on Ohio. At least it's not that bad.
So, the last time this happened was in 1918. The city of Boulder closed its roads and actually roadblocked all of the roads during the Spanish flu pandemic.
You're actually forgetting a very important city called Gotham, where Bain had put the city on lockdown. They had all the bridges locked off into Gotham. I don't remember that.
I did not remember that because that's not real.
Correct. You just gotta shoot down everything I say, huh?
Sorry. Well, say something that's not shootable.
It was real. I saw it.
So that's kind of scary. Have you been following the news at all, Steve, about the whole people protesting and then the government overstep and all this? Are you just kind of living your life?
I don't care. I just care about 2:00 when it's the wine time.
I think for those listening, our governor's name is Mike DeWine, and he does a press conference every day at 2:00. So in the state of Ohio, there's been a thing started called 2:00 Wine with DeWine. So most people are at home, so they get their wine out and watch the latest press conference, which is usually nothing big, except for...
It hasn't been that big since the first week of everything going down. Shenanigans. Then it got back big again towards the end of April because people were eager to see what was May.
Right.
Man, it's going to be like. Apparently, people were outside the director of health, whatever her name is.
I saw that at her house.
Yeah, like with guns and stuff. Like,
I didn't know they had guns.
A couple of them did, yeah. And they're outside protesting at the Ohio whatever building.
Yeah, they went to Amy Acton, who is the Ohio's medical person. I don't know what the official title is.
Yeah, never cared.
They shouldn't go to her home. That's taking it too far.
Right. Hey, it's freedom of protest, whatever that one's called.
See, now this ties in with the Waco thing.
Does it?
Is government overstepping its bounds right now? I mean, we got a lady who's in jail for opening her beauty salon. And I'm sure you've seen, I've seen countless now, probably half a dozen videos of people at parks or different places and being arrested and cops dragging him away. And, the guy on the train, they got pulled out because he didn't have his mask on. And I don't know, man. This whole thing it's the Waco thing. That's part of the reason I think I was so into it. It's like, I remember what it was like to live in those times when you felt like the government was getting too big and too oppressive. And now you got this pandemic that it's one of those things like, it's like saying, let me see if I can get this right. It's like saying, if you just say someone's racist or you just accuse someone of sexual assault, except Joe Biden, but if you just accuse them, then they're guilty. Then you can't say anything against it. So now it's like, well, it's a pandemic. You gotta do this, But at what point is it too far? You know what I mean? What point is I don't know. So I guess that's for me, and in my warped mind, the feelings of what's going on now is somewhat similar to what went on in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So Michelle's joined us on Facebook, and she says, yep, here we go again. I don't know if she's responding to something I just said, or here we go again, as in here's the show. But
here we go again.
Here we go again, talking about all this stuff. Well, this is the Chuck Jones Show. We're live on Podbean, live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and we talk about whatever I feel like talking about because it's the Chuck Jones Show. So if I want to talk about Waco for 45 minutes,
we're halfway there.
I will. So now I would like to, again, I would like to thank Michelle and Anchor for all of their wisdom over there. And I'd like to thank Michelle for the reference to the Jericho podcast that I listened to during this week. I don't know if you remember last week, she suggested it. It was, it's the first podcast I've listened to in years. So I don't listen to podcasts. I just do them. It was really good. Michelle, thank you. Thanks for the referral. I don't know that I would enjoy all of his shows because he has some variety of topics, but that was pretty interesting. He was talking about Barren Cross, old Christian metal band from the 80s and 90s. And it was actually pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Howard Jones, the former lead singer of Killswitch Engage, was one of his guests. And it was really cool to see that when he was growing up, he was a Barren Cross fan. And a lot of the music that I listened to that I thought was so obscure that no one cared about. And here you got these three guys actually.
Interesting.
It was into the same thing. So thanks, Michelle.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I can't. We can't hear half what you're saying. I don't know if it's because you're not up to the mic or it's a thing.
It could be that my air conditioning just came on. I don't know.
It's that cutting out thing. Remember we talked about it before? Almost like a noise gate. It might be
that was with my other mic.
Oh, I don't think it's a mic thing. It's an internet something thing, but.
It's not.
You should go back and listen to this show at 27 minutes and 48 seconds.
I listen to the show every week faithfully.
Okay. Well,
live.
You should listen to it.
Wow. Could be
Look at us. Hey,
StreamYard.
Look at us. Look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
I think it is an internet thing, but
yeah,
I was hoping. Yeah. So anyway, one thing I wanted to ask you, Steve, and we got to take a break here in a second, but the one thing I don't know if I've asked you is how you're dealing with not being able to go to movie theaters because you're such a huge movie theater guy and you haven't been able to go. So don't answer that question yet because we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors, for the Chuck Jones Show. So we'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Chuck Jones Show. Thanks for listening. I am Chuck Jones, and Steve is here, and he's going to answer the question I just asked him.
Nuclear boys. That's the answer.
Nuclear boys. No.
Nuclear boys.
The question I asked Steve before the break was, how are you dealing with not being able to go to movie theaters? Because how often did you go before the pandemic?
Depends on the season. Could be 2-3 times a month. But yeah, you can at least guarantee for sure once a month, no matter what, there's at least one good movie worth going to see in theaters. But there's been an issue, which is going to be interesting to see once this is all over with. Universal is going to be releasing films on VOD. Do you know what that means?
Video on demand.
Good job. Yeah. And AMC, the largest theater chain, is no longer going to show their movies in theaters. And Regal, which is my favorite theater that I go to,
When you say no longer,
joining them.
no longer as in never?
As long as they release their films on VOD, it's a breach in contract where there's like theater time, where movies specifically only are allowed in theaters, and then they can go to VOD. But Universal is going to be releasing them at VOD and at theaters at the same time, and so AMC is no longer showing their films for now, unless they back out of this VOD thing. And Regal is also going to join, is what I've been reading. So I won't be able to see any Universal films, if in theaters at least, if they stick to their guns with this.
So when you say video on demand, where?
Like they have an app or something probably. I've seen on my Amazon Fire TV, I've seen there's movies that will have like a blue line at the bottom and it'll say new release or something like that. And to rent those is $20. And like, because those movies were supposed to be in theaters.
Right.
So, I mean, it technically would be cheaper to just rent it on VOD if they were $20 for the film. But if they like make certain movies, you know, $40, like the big ones, I
Right.
don't know. But
Well, I mean,
I usually spend 20, 30, $40 at a time for a movie theater.
you'd buy snacks.
I usually get a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually get a drink.
Well, that's where they make.
Uh-huh.
That's obviously where they make their money. A lot of their money. You know,
big time.
you get a thing of popcorn and a Coke. It costs you $12, $15
Right.
just for popcorn and a drink. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There's an old theater here in town called the Linda. It's
the Linda.
they play new. Well, they used to play current release movies, but it was only $5, and all the snacks were the same price they are at the store. You know,
Nice.
so we used to go there with the kids. But Eric Kirk 2003 has joined us on Podbean along with Rest Stop. We appreciate you guys listening to the Chuck Jones Show. We're live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're live on YouTube.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were
No, it's okay.
Go
Good.
for it.
I was just rambling.
Finish.
Just normal rambling.
Another sad news besides movie theaters is that one of Ohio's beloved restaurants is permanently closing. They only have one store in Ohio, and it's located in Beechwood.
And it is?
Bahama Breeze.
Ah,
You ever been there?
I don't believe so. No.
Yep. They only have one restaurant. It's been there for 17 years, and it is closing because of the coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, there won't be the other ones.
The next closest one is in Pittsburgh, if you ever want to go back to Bahama Breeze, if you're from the area.
No. Nope. Sorry.
No?
Nope. Don't care.
Wow. Jeez. Holy smokes. Wow. I tell you what, though, not going to the movie theater so much has been saving me money.
I bet. Yep.
I've got usually like I have a certain amount of money at a certain amount of times, you know, besides when I move it out of my checking to savings or pay extra on, you know, rent or something like that. And I looked at my account and I was like, whoa, that's really strange.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
because it's not, you know, $80 going every Friday for date night.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. I mean, it does show that I have, and it's not like I didn't have the restraint, especially financially. I would be smart with it. But when there's just such a big movie that comes out, there's like a need, like I gotta see that in theaters. There's no other way to see this movie in theaters. Like, for example, when I went to go see Batman Dark Knight Rises, the one with Bane, we went to go see it in IMAX, and you're looking at this huge I mean, the screen went like from one side of the room to the other, and you got the crazy surround sound. There's like, I would never ever be able to replicate that sound and quality ever again. And like the movie was just like perfect for something like that. So,
Right. That
that's
makes
like
sense.
I get an itch to go see something like that in theaters.
I the enjoyment of movie theaters for me is just not what it was.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine caring enough. I've gone recently with my son because he wants, he want to see Star Wars or whatever. So, but
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, which the last one was bad. So I'm sorry I had to see that.
right. And it's just come out on Disney if you want to watch it again.
Yeah. I don't have Disney Plus yet. I'm actually
Really?
we're going through a show together, and we have the DVDs a friend let us borrow. And it's taken us a while, but I think once that's done with, then we will probably we'll check and see.
So Eric Kirk said he ate at a Bahama Breeze near Duluth, Georgia. So,
Oh yeah, there's plenty of Bahama Breezes. There's just one in Ohio.
yeah.
Which is
Well, there
sad.
was one.
It's gone.
There was
Yeah,
one.
yeah. For 17 years, yeah, I went there as a kid. So they have 40 locations, probably 39 now. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
permanently closed. They are not effing around.
Yeah, a lot of small businesses are going to go out of business, especially restaurants.
It's that's one thing I find interesting is like once this thing is finally over, I wonder what's gonna survive and make it. Like my barber, I mean, to be honest, barbers can probably still secretly have people come over. They can still cut hair and make a living. Probably not as much as they.
But if they get caught, they end up in jail. We got
True.
that beauty shop lady down in, I think, Georgia or somewhere,
Yeah.
who's in jail.
Yep. So there's like that risk, but that's how they make their money. So, so I mean, there's people probably still doing nails in certain circumstances, but it's like then when they come back, it's going to be interesting to see all the changes to everything.
Well, everybody's going to have to wear a mask.
I tell you what's
And
going
you're gonna
to
have
make
to
a killing though.
stay 6 feet apart. Blah blah blah.
If the drive-in movie theater comes back, which I imagine they would come back first, they would make a killing.
Well, they should be able to open now.
Yeah, they can make a killing.
I mean, they don't normally open until Memorial Day. Usually, that's when they'll open. But hey, I mean, I can't see any reason why. If you're in your car, you social distance from everyone else. Of course, if you go get snacks, you're gonna have to stand, 6 feet away. I don't know.
It's stupid.
And what I want to know now is, actually, I haven't gone anywhere. I was going to go to the store tonight. I got done eating dinner. I was going to go to the store, and then I realized I had to do a podcast. I didn't have time, so I'll go tomorrow. But I haven't been to the store in weeks. But if you're all wearing masks, the social distancing thing is kind of irrelevant, isn't it? Do you still have to stand 6 feet apart if you're both wearing masks? I mean, I don't understand the point of that. So
I don't know if it's because they can travel on surfaces or something. I don't know.
Gosh, I don't know. I'm starting to feel the conspiracy theories well up in my soul. I'm starting to think this is all this is some kind of Chinese Democrat conspiracy to get rid of Trump. That's what I'm starting to think. That's what I'm starting to think.
So speaking of grocery stores, that leads me to something I want to talk about. So I've been hearing in the news about everyone, calling the police and health departments when people walk around without masks and going in stores without masks. And I thought to myself, I wonder if there's any like weird stories of people like doing because there's weird people doing weird things with masks. And so I found two good ones. In San Diego, your place, my favorite place to be, your favorite place to be.
Yeah.
There was a man who wore a KKK white hood.
I saw the picture. I didn't read the news, but I saw the picture. That was in San Diego, huh?
That was his mask, a KKK white hood.
Wow.
And he's walking around the grocery store, people recording him. People told him to take it off. He said no. And they wouldn't let him check out. So he took it off at the very end.
I should have did that with a Chuck Jones Show T-shirt on.
Yep.
Gosh, you know the publicity. We would have thousands of listeners.
Next one is a woman. She cuts a hole in her mask because it makes it easier to breathe.
Wow.
So there's a picture and a video. There's her mask, so you know how it covers your nose and your face. So she had from the bottom of the nostrils down to her chin an oval cut there. And
Gosh,
the guy says,
Talk
"Where'd you get
about-
that mask from?" And she's like, "Well, since we have to wear the mask, it makes it hard to breathe. So this makes it a lot easier to breathe." She just has an oval.
I don't know about other parts of the country, but I know here in Ohio, I heard on talk radio, they were talking about, you know, if you have a disability like asthma or COPD or something like that, you don't have to wear the mask. But
Oh, really?
how you gonna know who has it? Who has, you know, what are you gonna carry a card around or wear a shirt that says I have asthma, or you know?
But people with asthma and COPD are a higher risk factor.
Right. So it's a catch-22, I guess.
That's so stupid. Just wear a mask.
Yeah, just wear it. And you know, you don't have to wear the N95. Just get just the regular. You're wearing a mask at work this week, right?
Yep.
When you leave your office. Yeah.
Yep.
I got just one of the regular ones, like, you know, typical nurses and doctors used to wear. Those are fine. You can breathe just fine in those. In fact, I found myself coming back to my office and sitting at my desk for a few minutes, forgetting I even had it on. You know what I mean?
Well, I have too big of a face. That thing hurts.
Yeah.
My cheeks are too big. It's like I'm pulling my ears so hard. I'm like, I gotta get this off, dude. Another thing, though, too,
He's got a bigger face. He's got a bigger face.
The one thing those masks do, which now I'm self-conscious all the time, is that you can smell your breath pretty good. You know, like I had some Cajun fries the other day. And I was like, dude, this is bad, man. Like, I should probably do something about this. But I don't have any Listerine at work, which guess who has Listerine at work now?
You?
Because of this incident, I have Listerine at work now. I'm like, oh man, this is terrible if I were to talk to someone.
Well, I told you I've been slightly smelling things recently, right?
No,
Yeah.
you're lying.
And
This is another
no, I'm
joke.
not. I am not lying. I swear to God, that just slightly, like just barely, like it just started, and I think it's because of all that disinfectant they're putting on our desks.
Mhm.
Like the first week that I came back, and you know, everything had been doused every night with that disinfectant, and then I'm working and stuff, and all of a sudden I'm like tasting this weird taste and almost kind of smelling this nasty. And then it got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. Like now, every morning I come in, I wash everything down with soap and water. I put my keyboard, my mouse in the drawer. They don't even spray that anymore.
Yeah.
But then, like, I opened a thing of coffee, and like, what was that? And I stuck my nose in there, and like, breathe real deep, and just barely. And I'm just like, this
Wow.
is weird. I wonder if it has anything to do with the disinfectant or the coronavirus, or is it just a complete coincidence? Because I haven't smelled anything for many, many years.
This is a modern day miracle.
It is. Well, it's not. You know, I still can't smell.
Yeah, but you can smell
It's just
a
like
little.
it's like a hint of something once every day or two. So
So my math stories led me down also another rabbit hole of a guy who was in a Dollar Tree. One of the, I'm not gonna say where. It doesn't matter where. It's in Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah, we always got problems in Michigan. But you're supposed to wear a mask, I guess, in the stores there. And dude told him he had to get out. And so the old man wiped his face on the worker's shirt. Like you can see it in the video. He takes his shirt and just rubs it and then leaves.
That could be a terrorist act.
I don't know if I think he did get arrested. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, there's his mugshot. It's pretty crazy. People are getting a little on edge. There's another story of a guy who was a security guard at another dollar store, go figure. And this chick was coming in with her daughter who didn't have a mask on, but the mom had a mask on. And so he told them they can't come in. So the lady goes back, gets her boyfriend and son, and they come up and shoot the guy and kill him.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this dude had 8 kids. And they just killed him because he told them that they can't go into the store.
My gosh.
Because she didn't have a mask on. Yeah,
See,
dude, people are acting wild, man.
That's, there's unquantifiable effects to what the government's doing in stuff like that. Do you know what I'm saying? And I've even heard Governor DeWine talk about, and I've heard the president talk about the adverse effects on people when they're out of work, or like there was a county here in Ohio, their opioid deaths rose 1,000% last month.
1,000?
1,000%. Yeah.
Holy.
Which they probably only had 1 or 2, but now they got like 30 or some crazy amount. I don't know the numbers, but yeah, it's like there's a certain, we're saving a lot of boomers from dying, but at what cost? What cost? But unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Not really.
Get antsy and on edge for no reason.
Yeah, I can't believe that. The guy with the KKK hood, though, that's funny. Where was that again? Oh, that was in San Diego.
He had to have known San Diego.
Anywhere you do that, you got to have some balls to do that. Anywhere.
Well, I'll bring in some good news after that sad story. How about that?
Yes, do that.
Okay. The United States' first ever socially distanced concert has been booked.
So a video?
Excited?
A video?
No, it's live in person. Do you guess what state would host a socially distanced concert? It
would have to be like Wyoming or North Dakota or Montana.
Oh, that was not bad guess.
Idaho.
Arkansas, headlining Travis McCready. He's going to be playing the first ever socially distanced concert. So basically what's going to happen is everyone who comes in is going to get their temperature taken. The seats are assigned. They're 6 feet apart. Everyone has to wear a mask. And the venue is capped at 229 people. So they're all going to be 6 feet apart in what they call fan pods, which I'm not sure exactly what that is.
Fan pot.
Also, there's only 10 people allowed in the restroom at all times.
So who's going to monitor all this? They're going to have to hire extra people?
I don't know, but it's scheduled for August 22nd if you want to go see Travis McCready.
In Arkansas. See, I thought you were going to say it was in some state with big wide open spaces, and there was going to be like this big field, and everybody had to stay so many feet apart. And I'm a little confused with the whole checking your temperature thing.
Oh, no, wait. Sorry. No, the show is May 15th. My bad. Oh, no, that's next week.
Yeah, we better get going on that. Road trip.
Yeah, they're all 6 feet apart in what they're calling fan pods, which I guess are going to be small groups of people 6 feet apart. I don't
So
know, but the venue can hold
So how do they
1,100
know?
people, but they're like,
How would someone who's monitoring this know if you're with your wife or you know what I mean?
doesn't matter, man.
This is it's all crazy.
But even though, here's the thing too, like the whole temperature thing, you can not have a temperature and have coronavirus.
Yes, for days. You can have it for days and not have a temperature, which I don't. I understand. I guess if somebody has a temperature, who's going out to a concert if you get a temperature? But I don't know.
We'll see May 15th, man.
Somebody. It's like when they first started this thing. Make sure you take your temperature every morning before you come to work. I'm like, I've never had a temperature in my entire life that I was not aware of it. There's plenty of times when I thought I had a temperature and I didn't. Or was just barely elevated. Trust me, those first few weeks of this whole thing, I would have been happy to have a temperature. Stay home. Now I get to stay home without a temperature.
Man. There's seats are being sold.
Are they filling up fast for the who McCready?
That's crazy.
Mr. McCready?
Travis McCready.
Travis, never heard of him. I'm assuming it's country music.
Tickets are only $20. Not bad. So it looks like they're having every other row. Looks like every other row. I don't know how many groups are in each row, maybe 10. But the seats are all 6 feet apart.
So basically, they're just doing what has been proposed for sit-down restaurants, and that is they have to remove like half of their tables and chairs and spread everything out, which is not going to be any good for these restaurants. They're still not going to make any money.
No, not at all.
Losing money on this deal. Hear me, boy?
What is Travis McCready? He is.
I would bet my life it's country.
Let's see.
It ain't hip hop.
Can I get some music about this guy?
Hip hop.
They're just all talking about Arkansas.
I am not playing any music. There's no copyrighted music being played on this show. Sorry.
No. I just want to, like, a Wikipedia or something. He has nothing. Let's go to his Facebook.
Everybody,
anything about him there?
We're heading to Arkansas for the Travis McCready show on May 15th.
Oh, he's the lead singer for Bishop Gunn, if you've ever heard about that.
Never heard of Bishop Gunn. I heard of Bishop Jones.
Hey, Bishop Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what Bishop Gunn. Oh my God, this is a never-ending loophole.
Someday, someone's going to give us a call at 330-474-9833 and join in on the conversation on the Chuck Jones Show. Don't call now. We got 8 minutes left. But
you're right. Country music, blues rock, and Americana.
Americana. Ain't nothing like that good old
genre.
Americana.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the vein of what we've been watching recently, Steve, I watched a movie last night. One of the first movies I've watched in a couple weeks on Netflix called 1922. I just want to let you know, don't bother watching it.
That sounds dumb. Any movie that's just a year is a terrible movie.
Yeah, it was a movie about a guy in 1922 who had a son and his wife basically they lived on her daddy's farm that was worth a lot of money, and he died, left her the farm. She wanted to sell it and move to the city, and he didn't want to because it was his life and his land and blah. So he ends up killing her and dumping her in the well, and she haunts him, and it's just not good. It's just not that good. So don't waste your time on 1922.
91% Rotten Tomatoes critics, but then 57% audience.
Yeah. So you being the movie guy, so that means Rotten Tomatoes. Who does that?
So they're like movie critics, film critics. Those are the people who can affect the tomato reader, which is like, oh, if critics are saying this is good, then that's interesting. And then audience is like anyone could make an account and tell us what they thought about a movie or whatnot.
So,
but
from your experience as a moviegoer and someone who follows Rotten Tomatoes, which one do you find more reflective of how the movie actually is?
Well, in this case, only 43 critics rated this movie, and 1,700 audience rated this movie to 57%. So I would listen to the audience, and I would not watch this movie.
So you base it on how many people?
Yeah. Like, I mean, if critics aren't caring enough to review this movie. They're giving it only 43 people, and that's kind of bias. But then I see the audience like 1,700. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
But like, okay, let's say a movie like Avengers, the first one that had 350 critics. So that's like, okay, a lot of critics went to go see it and gave it a good rating. So did the audience, though. 1 million users rated the Avengers, which that's crazy. Hey, Anchor asks, do you guys have any real plans?
Real plans for what? What do you mean?
Real plans.
Well, real plans for what? You got to be more specific. I don't know. Do I have any real plans?
I think it's just a general question.
I don't know. I mean, I've already had a wife and kids. I own a home. I'm 51. I don't have that much left to do. No, I mean, I got plans for this weekend, you know?
Oh, you got, okay. Yeah, go for it. What's your plan?
Well, I don't know. Eric is calling in on Podbean. I think we'll let Eric come on here and see what he's got to say.
Eric, come on in, buddy.
Eric, you're live on the Chuck Jones Show. We only got a few minutes left, but what's going on?
It's okay. How are y'all both this evening?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
I'm doing really good. I'm calling from down in Georgia. I live just right outside of Atlanta. And I really like the discussion y'all been having about country music singer Travis McCready. If he is a country singer, I'm thinking he is.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, they said he was.
And then the discussion about like the KKK mask having, you know, and him not being served at a grocery store, and of course that Bahama Breeze closure. I mean, they're owned by the same company that owns your Longhorns and Olive Gardens.
So, Eric.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
So
that.
how does that change anything, Steve?
Well, they could
I haven't eaten it at my Bahama Breeze in like 6 years, which is about 20 minutes from where I'm currently living.
Mm-hmm.
So, Eric, let me ask you this: do you think that guy with the hood should have been served?
I mean, I can understand why people see that as very offensive, of course, but I would imagine, you know, he would probably be likely to sue and argue in court that he was a victim of political discrimination, but I don't think a judge would side with that.
No, probably not. Probably not. And he knows what he's doing. It's not like he just said, "Hey, I don't have a mask, so I'm going to use a pillowcase."
Right. I would personally say that gentleman knew better.
I guess the question is, though, you know, they turned him away. It was a grocery store, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, geez, it'd be.
I think he may have took his hood off at checkout because they were not going to give him service. I think.
So okay, so they checked him out, but only because he took his hood off.
I think so. Yeah.
Right.
I closed the story, but I think that's how it ended.
That makes sense. But,
Yeah. Or imagine if somebody nearby, you know, took video or pictures of that with their phone and posted on Facebook and Twitter and other platforms, and then people start publicly shaming and condemning it.
Right, and then that store would look bad. Yeah. Yep.
Right. Because you'd have people like being told choose sides.
Right. So, Eric, how are things going for you during this pandemic?
I've managed to social distance as best as possible. I haven't, for like a better part of like a month to a month and a half, didn't do too much getting out except to go to the grocery store. And then with my Toyota Corolla, I avoided going to the gas station for a little over a month.
Wow.
Because gas prices have went down. And
Right.
Yeah.
And then I got my
same.
stimulus check last Wednesday, excuse me. And then my standard SSI check on Friday, because I am not employed anywhere because I have an autism disability to where I can't work right now.
So you're doing okay though?
So far, so good. I mean, I've made food runs to a couple of restaurants since my stimulus check, and I'm already got a barber appointment scheduled for near the end of the month.
Nice.
I know Steve needs a haircut. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
He's
I
starting to look like
definitely
Jimi Hendrix in the heyday there.
Yeah. Well, with my barber appointment, I've decided like I'm going to shell out like $80. I'm just going to get pampered, of course, like with a haircut and shave.
Well,
There you
I'm sure that business will appreciate that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a barber shop like west of Midtown Atlanta. I'm going to, um, and hopefully, I mean, I can that develop like a business and friendly relationship with them as well.
Are the restaurants in Georgia still closed, or were they ever?
I mean, I think like during the pandemic they couldn't do like dine-in customers, but I think they're slowly starting to return to doing dine-in customers, but keeping it extremely limited
'Cause
until like at least the 13th.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of rumors, hear stuff in the news about certain states. I didn't even know until the other day there's 3 states, and I can't remember which 3 there were, but three states that have never issued a stay-at-home order.
I think South Dakota was one of those.
Yeah, South Dakota, maybe Arkansas. I don't know. I don't remember what they were, but I thought every state had done it by this point. But no, there's still 3 states that haven't done that. So interesting.
Yeah, and I know like Michigan, I think a lot of people in that state are really not very happy with that governor from
No.
the way they talk about it on the news.
Have you seen? I think it's the mayor of Baltimore, Mayor Beetlejuice. Have you seen her? With the
Haven't heard of her.
her name's not really Beetlejuice, but if you look her up, she looks just like Beetlejuice. And she got on there and said, if you get caught, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. But yeah, and she
I don't
went.
know about that Chicago mayor either.
I think that might be Chicago. Now that I'm thinking about it, I said Maryland, but I think it's Chicago. But I don't know.
Well,
I got my Steve. Look it up real quick.
it's okay.
But anyway, when you see her, I just fall out of my chair laughing because she does look like Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. And she got caught going out to the barber and getting her hair cut, and she got a lot of grief for that, man, a lot.
I heard that too.
Yeah. All right, Eric, I appreciate you calling in, and we're gonna.
I mean, I look forward to your next show, Chuck.
Oh, thank you. We're here every Wednesday at 7 Eastern Standard Time, unless I don't feel like doing it, which I always do. So.
I mean, it's all good. I mean,
Right.
great to talk to y'all tonight.
All right, I appreciate you calling in. We look forward to
Good night.
conversing with you again in the future. Have a good night.
See you.
That's Eric in, you said Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Yep, Georgia.
Man, he here's the thing when he said that, I kind of zoned out for the rest of that call because
Why?
he mentioned about the owners of Bahama Breeze and how they own other chains, and I realized that they own the same people own Red Lobster, Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse.
So it's
own Bahama Breeze.
So it's a big company that owns a bunch of restaurants.
Yeah,
And they probably just shut down ones that aren't profitable, right?
No,
I'm
Bahama
guessing.
Breeze was profitable.
So why would they shut it down then?
Probably because of I imagine what's been going on recently with no money. I mean, they were doing takeout, but nobody wants to go there for takeout. And I don't know what Olive Garden and Red Lobster are doing with. I think Red Lobster's doing takeout. I don't think I saw Longhorn doing takeout,
Yeah.
but
There's some restaurants that it's kind of difficult. Like I drove by a Rockneys in downtown Akron that's on a corner of Market and somewhere. But it's like I looked at it and I thought, if I were to order food from there, I wouldn't even know how to do it. Where would I go? Do I go to the door? Do I go to the back? You know what I mean? It's like, so I wouldn't even mess with it. So that's got to be hard on some restaurants.
yeah.
Some restaurants are doing fine, especially fast food joints that.
Oh my
you
god!
know,
Yeah, there's a Raising Cane's chicken fingers right by me, and every day that I pass by there, which isn't a lot, whenever I have to go get groceries and stuff like that, but there's a line that wraps around the building twice.
Wow.
And it's been like that every time I've passed by. It's always been two lines.
I almost went there for lunch Friday.
Really?
I was gonna actually Thursday. I'd planned on. I thought tomorrow I'm gonna go to Cane's, but then my wife packed me lunch, so I didn't bother with it. So
Good. You'd have been a long line.
yeah.
Also, Swenson's.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the Swenson's. For those that don't know, Swenson's is a local drive-in, like kind of like Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic or A&W.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, I drive by the one in North Canton every Saturday, and I've never. They're so packed.
They originally had like a space in between cars when everything first started. Because I've been there a couple times. But they recently got rid of that. Like almost every spot it's like a party.
Right.
Almost every spot is taken at Swinson's.
And what are they going to do when they run out of meat? Wendy's here in Ohio ran out of hamburgers.
Yeah,
They're running out of meat. See, screw it. Pandemic or not, we can't have no hamburger. What kind of world are we living in?
No! God, please, no! No! No!
That's perfect.
No!
That's a good one.
All right. Well, Steve, unless you got something else to say, we're at $1.05, so it's time to get on out of here for another week of the Chuck Jones Show. I appreciate Eric calling in. I appreciate everyone who listened on Podbean, Rust Stop, and Lex joined us earlier. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. And as always, Anchor and Michelle. We couldn't do it without you. And Gloria and Michelle on Facebook. Michelle ends this show with "Where's the beef?" Yeah, Wendy's is asking,
Exactly.
"Where's the beef?" You've been listening to the Chuck Jones Show. Go to chuckjonesshow.com to listen, download, stream, and subscribe. This podcast is available on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Chuck Jones Show. We're live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern in the United States. You can join us on the Podbean app. Until next time, adios, amigos.
Call an ambulance! But not for me!
All right. Thanks, everyone who listened. Thanks again on Podbean. We'll see you next week. And that's that on the Podbeaner. Thanks for listening on Facebook, Gloria and Michelle. Next time, if you want to call us, 330-474-9833. Maybe the phone will work. I'm sure it'll work. It always works. I actually used it the other night for a different podcast. I'm not going to say which one. But, yeah. I had a discussion with someone who used to be on this show, that show that I'm not going to discuss.
Someone that you used to know.
Let's just say his name rhymes with Burl.
Gilroy.
Burl. His name rhymes with Burl. So you might want to go check.
Girl.
You might want to go check that out on that other show. It's episode.
I doubt it was the real one.
It was episode 200. It was.
It was not.
It was. I swear on my grave. I swear on my children's lives.
You do have a grave. So
I swear on my children's lives.
You can.
The real Earl. The real Earl is on episode 200. I called him on the phone and we talked.
He wanted to be.
He did it. I don't know if he wanted to do it. He was pretty funny. It was only like 5 minutes, maybe 10. Okay. I don't know. It wasn't very long. But
okay. Right.
Yeah,
I'll check it out.
It's actually a pretty good episode. Pretty funny. Pretty funny.
Okay.
So lots of copyrighted music being played. Okay. Thanks again, Michelle and Anchor. We will see you next Wednesday. Have a good week.
All right.
End stream. Stream has ended.